Minwoo Lee, the Aussie superstar, let's take a look at his golf swing and what he does in order to produce the good golf shots that he hits consistently over and over again and makes millions of dollars doing it. From the setup to the takeaway, I want to point out that the club head does get outside the hand slightly. Now this is quite different from his position at the top of the backswing. You'll notice that when you get the club head outside the hands a little bit, you actually start to rotate the forearms anti-clockwise. Think turning a car steering wheel to the left. But from this position up to the top of the backswing, Minwoo actually starts to rotate his forearms clockwise. Think turning a car steering wheel to the right. And that's when you start to see that this club shaft gets a little bit more horizontal or starts to point out towards the left. So straight up and down would look something like this. Minwoo's is obviously to the left of that, and therefore that is what we call a laid off position. Now from this position, Minwoo really has two options. And most amateur golfers will go with the second option, which is steepening the shaft. Now, Minwoo actually does a really good job of holding his forearms in the rotation that he is. So if you think you turn a car steering wheel to the right, then you get to the top of your backswing with that same feeling. The only way that your forearms have to really go is to turn the car steering wheel to the left. And what that does is it pitches the club shaft quite vertical in the downswing. However, Minwoo, with the amount of flexibility that he most likely has in his forearms and shoulders and everything that is needed to produce this shallowing move, he actually starts to get the club shaft a little bit more horizontal. But what you'll see is that later in the downswing that the club shaft does start to steepen a little bit. You'll notice that the lines that I start to draw get a little bit more vertical. Not much, but whenever you have a golf swing that is slightly laid off or that club shaft gets more horizontal, then it's going to want to work more vertical in the downswing. Now, clearly, Minwoo gets this club shaft into an extremely good position for him to be able to continue rotating his hips and chest open towards the target. But it wouldn't be uncommon for the amateur golfer to really struggle from that top of the backswing position. But clearly, Minwoo is extremely talented, and some things that he can physically do, others cannot. So let's take it into the impact position there. As I said before, that club shaft was in a great position for his hips and chest to start to open up. And you'll notice that the pelvis is pointing towards the target. That chest starts to open up really nicely. And then because of that, you'll start to see a pretty passive release pattern with the club face, meaning that the toe of the club isn't releasing too much over it. And Minwoo does a really good job of understanding what he can and cannot do with a golf ball. And it's the reason why he's so successful in what he does. And he's making millions doing it.